So it is 2 p.m. Eastern time here in the East Coast. My name is Steve Roses. I'm here with my colleague, Tim Hooge. We are both from HeinOnline. Tim is right in our Buffalo offices in Gettsville, New York. I am calling in from New Jersey today. So hello, everyone. Wanted to greet you. And I'm going to do something just to give everyone really quick energy. I'm going to do something unique here. I'm going to go like this to stretch. I suggest everyone do it. You don't have to repeat it, but it's a good energy boost as we get ready for this webinar. So there's a lot to cover here. And so we have both people who subscribe to HeinOnline on, as well as a whole bunch of people who are on trial. So it's a little bit of a variety. And we thought that in this webinar, we would focus on the kinds of business and economics research you can do on HeinOnline. You know, a lot of people know that we're government, politics, law, even religion, sociology, it goes on and on, but sometimes people don't know you can research business and economics in HeinOnline. So we thought we would do this webinar to show you a little bit about doing this. As you know, and most of you either have a trial of HeinOnline academic package or subscribe to it. And HeinOnline consists of many different sub-collections or libraries or components. And they're listed here by name under here, browse database by name. Now, HeinOnline consists of many journals. There are over 2,900 journals now. We just went up from 2,800 journals. Now we're up to 2,900 journals. Also things like case law and all sorts of government documents. And all of this comes in very handy when you're researching business and economics. So I wanted to show you a little bit first about doing a search. If you didn't know, for example, that HeinOnline had business and economics in it, you could go to our catalog and you could go to our subjects and you could say, let's look under B. Is there any business or economics content in HeinOnline? And you would go into business and you would see that there are quite a few business topics covered in HeinOnline. And you could see all the sorts of different subcategories of business you could research. You can even see if we have a specific type of business. For example, someone the other day asked me to demonstrate agricultural business or agribusiness. So if you were to, for example, go to A in our catalog subjects here, and you went to agricultural, this is a very specific type of business, but you will see that even a specific type of business has extensive material in it. So here is agricultural business, agricultural pollution, agricultural machinery, agricultural productivity, it goes on and on. So even a specific business. Same if you were doing research into the Silicon Valley computer industry or any type of business, you could go to our catalog and see the kinds of materials we might have. So that way you'll know that we are truly multidisciplinary and you can research those things. Now I like to show people our law journal library first. Our law journal library is called the Law Journal Library, but it actually is where our 2,900 plus journals are. So let's open this up. And if you wanted to, for example, see if we had any journals that dealt with the subject of business and economics, you would open up our law journal library and you would go to our journal list and it would show that we have over 150 different journals just alone in the subject of business and economics. But let me show you where that is. So here's subject. Here is business is listed, business and economics, 151 journals. And you can open this up and that'll show you the full list of our 151 journals. Now, every journal in HeinOnline goes back to the very first issue. So if one of these journals started in 1880, we go back all the way to 1880. If it started in 1910, we go all the way back to 1910. I know some other databases out there do not always go back to the very first issue. We always go back because we really know you value historic information as well as current information. And so we always go back to the very current issue, back to the first issue, as well as in 90% of the cases, we go all the way up to the current issue or bound volume. So what we're talking about is the full run of most of the journals that we have in HeinOnline. So if I like to show a search first, I will show you a very specific business type search in the Law Journal Library. And I'm going to put in gap which is generally accepted accounting protocols, and accounting. Let's do a simple search for that. That's something that's certainly taught in business courses. Now, we have, you see, we have tons of results here. We have over 7,360 results. Now, and here's something specific on tax accounting. But let's fine tune the search and put in something that a lot of people study in business programs. Enron, the famous Houston corporation that had accounting and corporate governance issues. Let's look at GAAP, accounting, and Enron here. Now, you don't necessarily need to put the ands in here like I have. I like to use it because using some Boolean tools can fine tune some of your search, but it's actually set up, HeinOnline is set up to almost do Google type searching where you don't need any Boolean. If you really love Boolean, we have a whole sheet that can show you how to come up with specific Boolean things, and that's all on our knowledge base, but you don't need it. Here in this case, I'm using and, so GAAP, accounting, and Enron, we're searching, and here's a whole thing on Enron, Sarbanes-Oxley, and accounting, rules versus principles versus risk. Now let's say we find this to be a very valuable article on accounting, perhaps your student or faculty members researching a paper in this area. You'll notice that this article has been cited by 65 other articles. And you'll notice it's been accessed in a rolling period on HeinOnline 47 times. So you know this is probably a pretty important article, even though it came out in 2003. Well, let's look at this article. So we're gonna open it up. And here you have this article. Notice it appears as a PDF, but it's fully searchable. And at the touch of a button, for example, if you wanted to quote something from here, you could click here and change this to the text. Now it's the text. You could cite this by clicking on cite. In fact, you could cite this article in many different formats, from Blue Book to ALWD to APA to Chicago. We even have the McGill Guide. If you were in Canada, we have the McGill Guide, MLA, and it goes on and on. And we work with EndNote, RefWorks, Zotero, and Noodle Tools. So now let's say you want to change this right back to the image, the permanent image. Just click on the button here. And let's say you find this article particularly valuable. You just click here on more like this, and that's going to run what the computer algorithm finds are the most interesting words from this article. And it's going to find other like documents that are similarly valuable. By the way, we will have time for questions at the end. So don't worry if you have questions now, we will have questions at the end. So for example, if Sarbanes-Oxley is an important part of what you're looking at, you can boost that, but an accounting might be important, but setting body might not be as important. So you could lower this, and you could also, for example, choose, oh, I only want to look at results from say 2000 to 2015. So you're fine tuning the period of research you're looking for. And you can rerun the search accordingly like that. So now we have a whole bunch of other results also on point, also that are cited by other articles, and you can go to those articles that cite those articles, and all sorts of things on financial reporting and accounting measurements. Similarly, you could do a search specifically on something like corporate governance, not just in the Law Journal Library, but in all the databases you have access to on HeinOnline. And you could go corporate governance and Enron and accounting. And now you're not going to look in the journals, just journals, you're also looking at things like the Federal Register. So you want to see the latest federal regulation material on corporate governance that applies, that mention Enron or that mentions accounting. And you can go to that as well. In fact, you could go to many of the different collections. You could go to the Law Journal Library and see 4,000 results. You could go to our US congressional documents and the congressional record and congressional hearings, and you can see 878 results. You could go to our US federal agency documents, decisions, and appeals and see 94 of the results. Let's say you find this result to be particularly valuable. You just open it up here and you can look at that. Now, if you find this article that you just found very valuable, you may want a permanent link of this, and you could click here and create a permanent link to this page. Now, if you're using HeinOnline remotely, you can also get a permanent link. We just have to make sure we have your proxy information registered. So let us know if you're using it remotely to make sure all your permanent links work. This is where you would put a permanent link of this article. You can also save your results. Anyone who uses HeinOnline, I recommend you doing this, especially if you're searching business or economics. You can create your own MyHein page, which allows you to bookmark anything you find in your searching. So you just go here to create a username and password. Any user on your trial or your subscription can create a MyHein password. You can save your queries. You can save your table of contents updates. You can save your results to your query. You can save specific documents. So I recommend this. Now let's see some of the other places you can research business and economics in HeinOnline. So would you believe in our legal classics collection, this is where over 15,000 monographs and treatises are. If you're ever looking for a description of one of our component databases, you just click here, and here is a description of it. And you'll see that it is actually much more than just legal classics. It's actually classics on all sorts of social sciences titles, including economics. And if we open up this collection, we go here to legal classics. A lot of people consider Adam Smith one of the fathers of economics. I'm gonna put in Adam Smith. And I was actually doing a search earlier. Adam Smith, New Deal, labor unions, and wealth of nations. It's a bit of a specific search, but let's see the results. And here we have one of our results. Here is a book. This is where our monographs and treatises are. This is in relevance order, but you can change this from oldest first to newest, newest first to oldest, and even by document title. Let's open this one up. We're gonna look at this specific book. And this is a study paper, an evaluation of antitrust policy, its relation to economic growth, full employment, and prices. You could also do a search, for example, on economic growth and Adam Smith and labor. Let's see. And now you have 178 results. Now you may like these results. You can also then use these facets on the left to get into specific years of when these materials were published. You could go to specific notes, chapters, indices, volumes. If you want to use mark record subjects, for example, you may want to see specifically the results that emphasize labor unions in this case. We can limit it to that. Now we're looking specifically at the ones that specify or get more involved with labor. And so that's just a way to fine tune things. You can also look at specific titles. For example, this is a collection on a book on union monopolies and antitrust restraints. Here's something on legislation, etc. Now, I mentioned that we have the Federal Register. We also have the Code of Federal Regulation. And I mentioned you can research even something as specific as agribusiness. So let's go to the Federal Register. Here we are now in the Federal Register. This goes all the way back. And this is one of the parts of HeinOnline that is current to the day. It's updated daily. So if I put in there might be some material. I don't know. I'm going to put in agribusiness and I'm going to search it in the Federal Register. This is the full Federal Register and it's updated daily to see what has come out recently in the Federal Register on agribusiness. And you can see, and we can put this in relevance order. We can put this oldest first. We can put this newest first. We can put document title. So there are a variety of materials that have come up on agribusiness. And you can research any subject that way. Now, if you're doing some work with international business or courses related to international business, you're going to want to see what countries the United States has treaties with and what they say. For example, if you were looking at China and you want to see our relationship with China, any treaties we have, if you wanted to see things like the WTO, if you wanted to see treaties that are in force or treaties that are actually no longer in force, you can go to our U.S. Treaties and Agreements Library. You could do a search here. You could look up multilateral parties. You could put the State Department number if you had it. You could put last year bringing treaties in force, the signing date of the treaty, or you could go here and you could just search by topic. For example, if you wanted to see intellectual property treaties, and so you have to spell intellectual property. So here it is. And then you could put in another term, let's say China. Now you're looking at our treaties and agreements library. Notice we also have proximity here. You could go within 25 words, we have within 10 words, within 5 words. You could use and, or not, different things to help you fine tune. The templates are already there for you to do a search. Now, let's say you wanted to do a Venn diagram search and you want your students to have a better sense of how things look in the grand scheme of HeinOnline. And I've never done this search, but let's throw it out here. I'm going to put in European Union, and I am going to put trade. And I'm going to see if there are Venn diagrams that show how often these come out in HeinOnline, and then we're going to see how it works on an interactive basis. I'll show you that. Okay, so this is actually showing you different sets of the data, how the data looks in HeinOnline. And so you can see the word trade comes up a lot in HeinOnline, and the word European Union also a good amount. But this is the full set of the results for trade. For example, there's a lot of results for the World Trade Organization. Now we're going to change this. This is the results for just European Union. Now these together, these two circles together would be the results for European Union or trade. And then this here, this red area, this is just the results that have European Union and trade. And so you can see here that changes the results on the right, and that gives you a whole bunch of specific treaty information regarding the European Union, specifically as it relates to trade, research in the US Treaties and Agreements Library. We have another database, and this is probably, most of you don't have it in your trial, and it also probably, if you subscribe to HeinOnline, you probably don't subscribe to it, but it is really interesting, and it's business and legal, it's business related, so I did think I would talk about it. It's also quite reasonably priced, which we can talk to you about in another time. It's called Business and Legal Aspects of Sports and Entertainment. And like any of these collections here, you just click on the I and you can get a description of what's in here. So this is HeinOnline's Business of Legal Aspects of Sports and Entertainment. It presents a comprehensive treatment of sports and entertainment featuring topical arrangement of more than 8,000 scholarly articles, and it also has federal and state documents, full text books, selective bibliography, topically and arranged external links, etc., and the National Sports Institute from Marquette University materials. Materials on the Athlete Agents Act as well. So really great materials. Some of them are hard to come by, and certainly it's hard to come by a place where all this material is in one place. But we have it in our Business and Legal Aspects of Sports and Entertainment. I just want to give you a quick look into it. I'm going to open it up. By the way, you can get a list of the titles by the end. You could get this in text format or CSV format, which you can save in an Excel file. And notice there are 1,391,000 pages. And right now there are over 1,500 titles in this work, but we keep adding to this on a monthly basis. So we're going into business and legal aspects of sports and entertainment. And like all the collections on HeinOnline, they're kind of set up like this. We have tabs where you can look at, browse all titles. This is just if you wanted to browse the books in this collection. These are just the congressional documents that relate to sports and entertainment. We have them highlighted for you in full text here within here, if you click on here. We have other government documents. We have legislative histories regarding sports and entertainment, National Sports Law Institute periodicals, bibliography, scholarly sports articles, important sports cases, etc. Or you can go into an advanced search, and let's say you wanted to search something like, I don't know, franchise, and within 25 of free agents. Actually, let's do it and in case they're not within 25 of each other. And we're going to search. And now you have all sorts of great results. And and this happens to be an article. So implementing a franchise player designation system in the National Basketball Association, exploration of the NFL franchise tag functioning as a non-compete clause. Certainly non-compete clauses are important to the business. NFL franchise player rule, legal and economic justifications, and it goes on and on. These are full text. Everything here is fully searchable, full text. And once again, it's this result here, for example, accessed 33 times in a rolling period on HeinOnline. Now, let's say you want to specify the date. You could just look at the results from 2016 to date. You could just look at a specific document type, for example, a periodical, a congressional document, a book. And you could just look at an article if you want to. And you could just look at a specific title. For example, Cardoza Arts and Entertainment Law Journal has 7 results just in the search alone. Okay, so just want to show you, there are many collections here where you can research business and economics, but I'm just going to show you US legislative history, which is a very useful one. So we were talking about legislation. So for example, in the US Federal Legislative History Library, if you were to go to our great index for legislative histories, which is our sources of compiled legislative histories, and you go in here, and let's say you don't know the bill number, and you don't know Congress number, you don't know the public law number, you don't know the title, but you want to research something you know that's called Dodd-Frank. You don't know the official name, you know that it's called Dodd-Frank. So the popular name is definitely going to have Dodd-Frank in it. So if we research that, click here. And this is a famous statute that deals with Wall Street reform and consumer protection. So it's certainly relevant to business. And here, if you want to go to all the articles that we have that refer to this public law number, you could click here. If you want to know what the bill number was, it's HR 4173. If you wanted to go right to the statutes at large, it's right here. You could click here. Or if you wanted a full legislative history that really reviews all the goings on, the different congressional hearings, what the different senators were saying. Let's say you're trying to establish legislative intent. You really want to see what, one of the key senators was saying about a given act. You could open up Dodd-Frank, Wall Street, and Consumer Protection Act and look at a full legislative history with all fully searchable documents. Okay, so I want to leave time for questions, but I wanted to show you some ways that you can get help while you're using HeinOnline, because HeinOnline is very user-friendly, and I want you to get the most out of it. So how is a good way to find out what's new in HeinOnline, what we've added, because we're always adding to all our new collections. We're always adding new features. You would just go up here and go in what's new, and you could go to new content we've added, monthly content releases. Now, let's say you're putting a query together or researching on HeinOnline, you need some help. You can email us. You can contact us this way. You can chat us from 8:30 to 6 o'clock Eastern, Monday through Friday. We love feedback. We love positive and negative feedback. Like, let's say you felt that the speaker in a random business and economics presentation was a little rambly and you wanted to tell people negative feedback. No, don't do that. Don't do that. I'm just kidding. Then you could tell people that. Also, LibGuides, you use LibGuides in your library. You want to see what Hein has done for LibGuides for HeinOnline, you can go to that. Now here is our knowledge base. And this is where you can find out things like, how much can I download at a time? What does Hein have? How does HeinOnline interact with VPAT or accessibility guidelines? Does HeinOnline have any videos on how to use HeinOnline? For example, I want to find a book, I want to find an article, I want to find a legislative history, a document, a business document. Well, you can go to our overview of Quimby's HeinOnline series and you can look, we have a whole series of roughly 5-minute videos that show you how to find things really quickly. They use very easy to understand, they use professional announcer voices, it's really great. And then in addition, we've done our own video as well. So bunch of videos on all sorts of topics. Our videos tend to be longer and cover more broad topics, and they're very beneficial as well. As I mentioned, some of you may want to use Boolean in more detail. We have advanced search syntax. As I also mentioned, you don't need to use Boolean syntax at all. If you need a comprehensive user guide to HeinOnline, that's here. and so forth. Searching 101. What is HeinOnline for someone who doesn't know what HeinOnline is? Just go to what is HeinOnline in the knowledge base. Now, I recommend all of you subscribe, those of you who are on subscription, those of you who are on trial, to our blog. The blog has amazing things that update you. For example, we just did a blog article on researching Ruth Bader Ginsburg in HeinOnline. Here's how to research locating the statutory authority of regulation. I mentioned CFR Code of Federal Regulations and Federal Register. This gives you a tip on that. Down further in here is a whole article on how to research Enron in HeinOnline. Here's an article on how to research Native American rights. So that's the Native American rights subject. So you can research, HeinOnline is truly multidisciplinary. You can research so many subjects. And here's researching sports titles. Here are essential sports titles that are on HeinOnline. It just goes on and on. Here's how to research executive privilege. So definitely check that out. We do have a lot of business topics from time to time. Now I want to see, I think I've gotten some chat questions, so I do want to see that, and I want to leave time for some questions. Can we copy from the HeinOnline LibGuides onto our own LibGuides? Yes, you are welcome to use our LibGuides. Let's see. I want to see some of your other questions. Is there a citation manager feature within HeinOnline? When you say citation manager, do you mean for example, with our case law, like for example, if you want to find out if case is still good law? Yes, that's through our Fast Case add-on. That's something called Bad Law Bot. And so if you're interested in that and you don't yet subscribe to the Fast Case Premium add-on, that's a very inexpensive increase, and it allows you to find out if cases are a good law by looking at the negative history of cases. And when a case has negative history, it creates a flag, so definitely check that out. If by citation manager, you mean, you put in a citation and find an article, a statute, what you're looking for? Yes, we have that. If by citation manager, do you mean, do we work with RefWorks or EndNote or Noodle Tools or Zotero? Yes, we work with all of those, and we have many different citation formats from the Chicago School to even the Canadian McGill Guide. So lots of different, actually over 7 different citation methods that you can use on documents from HeinOnline. Let's see, are there any other questions? If I don't answer any of your questions during this session, please email me after the fact. My email is sroses@wshein.com. And you can, that's S as in Steve, ROSES @wshein.com. And you can email me that way and I can answer any questions. And if I don't know the answer, the list of subjects I showed at the beginning. To do that, you just go to let's go back to HeinOnline. You go into, we're going to log in again here. And you just go to catalog search. And then you see we have subjects right here. In fact, you can even do an advanced catalog search, but this is where you go to get to the subjects. So you can really, and it's organized by letter. So you can go to look for any subject you want. Let's just give you, that's not the best way to really get into detail on a given subject, but this is a good way to get a sense of our coverage of different subjects, if you follow me. Let's see what else we have here. Another question. Yes, sroses@wshein.com. Tim Hooge put his email, and if you're working with Tim Hooge, THOOGE@wshein.com. And Tim has texted that to everyone. Oh, to get the KBART files, we had, so now that answers the question about the chat box. To get the KBART files, all you do is you go, for example, you want to see all the journals we have in HeinOnline. You go to our journals. Here, over here, is where the KBART information is. It's both text, and you can get this as you see, in something you can save to an Excel file. And it gives you, for example, in our journal library, 39 million pages, but we have 2,888 journals, or roughly 2,900 journals. Other questions? Thank you so much. I don't want to go over because we said it would be till 2:30 Eastern time, but I will answer one more question. How do you get to that knowledge base? You go up to the top under help, and boom, right there, it's under knowledge base. Thank you so much, everyone. We really appreciate your time. We will be making a recording of this. Have a nice day, everyone. Thank you. Thank you. Have a nice day.